Slingshot has changed the design of all its boards in 2020. We have a epoxy sandwich construction with a EPS core, carbon strings and patches, a bamboo layer on top and a new EVA deck. We now have better damping, more comfort and not the hard feeling of a continuous bamboo sandwich. The completely new model Tyrant 58 has really little volume, is very thin, also has a rocker line of 5.5 cm, but still manages to present a really good planing ability in that between 60 and 95 kilos. Well, that's definitely convincing here. Of course, a clean and powerful kite of between 5 and 9 square meters is the prerequisite. If you also look at the upwind behavior, then the whole thing is really absolutely acceptable here. You don't need a lot of effort to get back into the lineup. The board runs well upwind. It's clear that the in-house Solero 56, with a much flatter bottom curve, brings a bit more performance, but in the area of less volume performance short boards the Tyrant 58 is very good. With the acceleration and the final speed, the Tyrant lies in the good range. The turning of the Tyrant 58 is clearly the show discipline of the board. There are very few boards that have such small, tight radii with such a low effort. Just like the bigger brother N60, you can really steer the board to the most precise measure, only that with the 58er the measure of the necessary force is even smaller. The force distribution from the front and rear leg is about 60 to 40, which means that we always tend to have a slightly increased pressure on the rear leg to get the maximum out of it. This applies to both the bottom and the top turn. And although the board is really small and has a small volume, it stabilizes well in longitudinal direction, so that foot changes here are not only feasible for the professional. With its slightly stronger bottom curve, the Tyrant 58 can take the push of small waves with it. However, the slightly larger conditions are preferred, comparably at the North Sea or the Atlantic coast. At the first sight of the Tyrant and its small board thickness, we were of course a little frightened and thought, okay, will that be enough for the bigger, heavier guys here just in regard to the volume? All you can tell is that, yeah, that's enough. As soon as you have even wind conditions, the board can be handled by any rider up to 95 kilos without any problems. And for lighter people over 60 kilos, the Tyrant is also an option for our smaller, less powerful conditions in the Baltic Sea. Due to the butter-soft, really turning-friendly behavior, the optimal surf feeling really comes up immediately in all movements. Square snatched turns are not necessarily the favorite of the Tyrant. Here is around turning behavior the 100% announcement. All in all, the board still shines with a really outstanding running smoothness. Even if it's a bit more choppy between the waves, the board swallows it very well with its new, better damping construction. And of course the stronger rocker line brings the higher comfort. If you are already in the middle range of your riding skills, i.e. have a little experience moving directional boards, the Tyrant is no problem for you in all weight classes. Of course, the beginner in this area should definitely prefer the Solero, because the gliding characteristics can really be called up by themselves. For this you need a little bit more feeling with the Tyrant. If these basic prerequisites are fulfilled, So with the Tyrant you get a performance surfboard that, as it would be popularly called, goes through the butter like a hot knife.